Hello, everyone. Thanks for taking the time out to attend RFI's webinar on the BYD Premium Battery Storage product. My name is Arvind Ravichandran. I am the product manager for BYD and the battery portfolio here at RFI. Before I start, I would like to let you guys know that if you have any questions, technical questions, I've got my colleague Alcara on the chat, so the questions will be answered. And also after the presentation, feel free to ask any questions and hopefully I can answer them. Thanks, guys. So that's the objective of today's session. A good understanding of the 2020 product and portfolio understanding and increase the brand awareness of the current portfolio. And we'll delve into why the BYD is a better solution than the other technologies out there. A bit of an agenda for today's session also. I'm going to run through who BYD is, what the corporate looks like, what new products have come out, what the business benefits are for those products, comparison between old BYD and the new BYD, how it compares to the competition, and a few use cases in terms of industrial applications. So that's the overall view of BYD as a company. They're a Chinese manufacturer. They've got a presence in automobile, new energy, electronics, and rail transit. What we're going to focus on today is the new energy business, or the ESS market storage business. About BYD, obviously, since they're such a big organization, they've got their foot in each vertical. The key thing that I want to mention in this slide is currently Sydney Blue buses, the ones that are used in the airport, and the Brisbane buses are currently using the BYD's batteries. So that's a statement there, right there. And also, the buses that use with the BYD batteries are also used in London. So they've got a very heavy presence in the electric vehicle segment, both in commercial vehicles and passenger vehicles. This is just to further bolster BYD's company image. So unlike most manufacturers, BYD is a true vertically integrated company and have end-to-end solutions. When I say end-to-end, what I mean is they produce the battery cells themselves, they produce the cars themselves, they're into power generation, battery storage, everything. Some companies will need to get their batteries from other corporations and will have to fit it in their own automobiles. BYD do everything. Another slide showing us how much capacity each technology produces. So the main takeaway here is BYD is in third place, but it's growing year on year. They're partnering up with Toyota to release all the electric vehicle fleets, backed up by Warren Buffett, and also they make their own cars with their own batteries. Now we get into the what I call the meaty slides. It's the introduction of the new battery box premium products. We've got 3 new products coming on: the high voltage HVM and HVS, the low voltage LVS, and the other LVL commercial off-grid solution. So this is the high voltage BYD product. It's got 2 sizes here. We've got the HVM and the HVS. So previously we had only 1 size, but I'll get to that in the next couple of slides. Single stack would give you 22.1 kilowatt hours of storage, which is the HVM, and you can parallel 3 stacks, giving you a total of 66.2 kilowatt hours of storage. Compare that to the HVS. You can have a single stack of 12.8, and then you can parallel them up to 38.4. The key difference between the HVM and the HVS is essentially the module level energy storage capacity. The HVS is 2.56, the HVM is 2.76. Key benefits are high energy / cost ratio. It allows you to install more capacity at a better price compared to the older modules. For example, if you want to install a 10 kilowatt hours of battery storage, the newer module saves installation time, thus reducing the labor costs also. The new product also has remote monitoring and diagnostics. Why is this important? It allows users to have a peace of mind that they know that the system is being monitored. Obviously, this is still in development also, but it helps reduce reactive maintenance. It also helps in preventive maintenance. So it's a key selling point for installers also, and thereby you get increased availability, high uptime. So that's a general snapshot of the high voltage product, predominantly used in on-grid installations. Although BYD have told us also that the system is on-grid and off-grid compatible, but it's a direct replacement for the high voltage module. Next up is the LVL. This is BYD's off-grid, on-grid, commercial, industrial battery storage. The key differences between this and the 13.8, which, like I told you, I will come to the comparison afterwards, is that the LVL is 15.4 kilowatt hours of capacity, and you can stack one on top of another to reach 30 kilowatt hours of storage. That's on one stack. And then you can parallel them up to close to 983 kilowatt hours to be exact. Benefits are they're scalable and very modular. You do not require the cabinets that we used to have for the 13.8s, which is a big advantage because it's an extra item. It reduces the price. More capacity can be installed in a lesser space. I would say more real estate savings in that area. So, which is always a plus point for installers trying to reduce the labor costs. In that way, the BYD scores high points. High energy to cost ratio, and like all other products, the LVL has remote monitoring and diagnostics. It helps in preventive maintenance and increased uptime. Like I mentioned, it's also on and off grid too. So that's just a general snapshot view of the LVL. The next product is the LVS. This is the direct replacement for the low voltage 3.5s. Mind you, the old product was only on-grid, but BYD have told us this is on and off-grid compatible. But obviously that's got to do with the inverters, which I will get across in the end of the presentations also. Outdoor IP55, BYD is legendary plug-and-play system, modular. The key differences here are it is a 3.84 kilowatt hour storage system, each module, and it can be stacked up to 245 kilowatt hours of storage capacity. So it is quite different to the old module where you could only go up to 42 kilowatt hours. So it is quite a difference. It's the low voltage product, both on and off grid compatible, and it is an IP55 outdoor rated battery. It's got a high depth of discharge, which I will be also explaining later on, but essentially the BYD battery is one of a kind where the usable energy ratio is close to 99%. So to recap, the three new products that we saw were the HV, the LVS, and the LVL. So the HV is the IP55 on-grid residential storage system, but it is on and off-grid compatible. The LVS is the low voltage IP55 3.84 kilowatt per module. total capacity that you can reach with this particular battery is 245 kilowatt hours. It's also an IP55. The key thing that the difference between this and the old product is also the VDE certification, which is essentially a European certification that we didn't have with the older products. BYD have managed to get that. So obviously that, and it shows us that it's not just being installed in China, it's been installed all over the world. So Europeans have been using it consistently. It's a product that is very, very famous and is liked around. And obviously the LVL is more of the commercial and industrial solution, which can be used on and off grid. The next up, I want to talk about the comparison between the new and old products. So first up on that is the high voltage HVM/HVS versus the high voltage 1.28 previously. The key points that I would want to highlight here are the HV 1.28 were not VDE certified. Both products are now on and off grid compatible. The HVM/HVS is twice the size of the 1.28. So essentially, you can install more capacity and reduce the space required to install them, which is actually a real estate saving, saves on labor costs / installation costs. And the old product did not have the option of selecting two sizes. Why is this important? So for example, if an end customer wants just 5 kilowatts or even 7 kilowatts of storage, you can go with the HVS, which can be paralleled up to 64 kilowatt hours. I'm not sure, I think the last slide, that's what they told me. But with the HVM and the HVS, if people or the end customer want to start off on a higher capacity range, they can go with the HVM and the HVS, which was not possible with the high voltage 1.28. Obviously, the older product did not have remote monitoring. BYD have included this into their new models, although this is still in development stages. They are working out their software, but they have shown us the prototype, and in the future, it will be something that end users can have an app to look at this. The LVL 15.4 versus the 13.8. The key differences again here is that the LVL 15.4 do not require cabinets. Why is this important? It reduces the installation cost. It takes up lesser space, thus saving on real estate savings. Overall cost to install the product can be competitive with other products and also the older system. Obviously, the other main difference is it's a larger capacity. So if I would want to put 45 kilowatts of storage or 30 kilowatts of storage, I can just choose two LVL 15.4 rather than installing three 13.8, which is a saving there in itself. The new LVL 15.4 also has remote diagnostic features, which will help in preventative maintenance. All of these products have this function. Both of them are now on and off grid capable. And this product, like I mentioned earlier, is your industrial commercial product. It can also be installed residential, but you would find that the high voltage products would be a better fit. Key difference, most of our customers actually wanted to find out about this is the 13.8, you could only reach a capacity of 441 kilowatt hours, but with the LVL, you can go up to, let's say 1 megawatt hour, just like the round number, rather than 983 kilowatt hours. 1 megawatt hours of storage, with a lot of products are coming out with containerized solutions at that instance, where the BYD is just in a modular level, which says a lot about their manufacturing facility also. So that's the key differences between the LVL 15.4 and the 13.8. Moving on. The LVS versus the LV. Both of them are IP55. Slight increase in capacity from a 3 kilowatt hour or 3.5, sorry, to a 3.8 in terms of individual module. The LV 3.5 was only an on-grid product, whereas the LVS is both on and off-grid compatible. The other difference that I would say in this is, or the important one is, the ability to scale this is higher. The LVS can reach 245 kilowatt hours of storage capacity, which is 64 modules of the 3.84, whereas the LV could only reach up to 42 kilowatt hours of total capacity. So that's a new market that we could play with. It can be installed residential, or it could be installed in small businesses. The choice is yours. Obviously, an inverter needs to be compatible with that, which I will get to later. Now we come to the competition and the BYD advantage. I'm going to spend a good chunk of my time here just to give an idea about why the BYD battery is the better solution over other technologies. You might see some very familiar names, but it's no dig at other products, but it's just that, why BYD has a product and the history behind it is important. Yes, it's a Chinese brand, but it's been there for 40, 50 years. The strength of the number says it all. So that's that graph, and the chemistries on the left-hand side gives us a snapshot view of different products. So we've got the BYD, LG, Samsung, Tesla, and other products there, and the chemistries on each on the side. So LFP for lithium iron phosphate, nickel, lithium iron phosphates, NCMs, LMOs. All of these products are pretty much different chemistries. Now, batteries are essentially power sources in various application systems. Temperature is a very critical factor that impacts performance of lithium-ion batteries. That's why lithium-ion batteries have a mandatory field or a mandatory item called the BMS that's needed to measure the characteristics of battery voltage and temperature. The key difference between the chemistries are the LFP uses phosphate for its cathode rather than using cobalt, which is a very unstable element by nature, nickel or manganese. Lithium iron phosphate is more tolerant to full charge conditions and is less stressed than other lithium ion systems. As a chemistry, the lithium iron phosphate provides reduced chance of thermal runaway. So when I say thermal runaway, I'm talking about it's essentially a chemical reaction that occurs inside a battery cell when the cell is unable to dissipate or disperse extra heat. Cobalt-based systems generally produce heat in their normal operation, and that's why you see most of these battery manufacturers who use NMC have to have active cooling ventilation requirements, which is a cost by itself. And sometimes in older systems, if they have cooling in terms of a fan, which is a moving part, the fan can fail before the battery fails, which is another headache for most installers. Also, if there were to have a fire that was supposed to happen, and if it's a cobalt material, cobalt has, in a cobalt environment, the only option that you have in that case is just let the fire burn out by itself. There is no effective fire retardant against cobalt fire. In contrast, the LFP, which is the BYD battery, although the BMS will be monitoring this in case the BMS fails, which is less than 1%, can be extinguished by ordinary water sprinklers. Key points, how does this, okay, that's all technical information, Arvind. How does this translate into an installation environment? For installations in hot climates, which is pretty much everywhere in Australia during summers, the LFP has a greater advantage over heat-producing cobalt chemistries. LFP batteries do not require ventilation or cooling equipment. They can be installed in much tighter spaces. For example, in industries like hospitals, food service businesses, homes, where the primary decision is safety, the LFP wins. And when you come to the TCOs, or the total cost of ownership, the LFP does not require ventilation or thermal monitoring equipment, and thus provides the most cost-effective solution. So that's just to give us a snapshot of why BYD is a better solution in terms of safety. That's a graphic representation of the overall features and benefits of the BYD battery. So like we discussed, safe battery chemistry, flexible extension, so we can keep adding modules in the future. Flexible installation, you don't require cabinets anymore. You don't need to, there's internal plug-in wirings, easy to install. High power output. When I say high power output, it's something that I would dub and call it usable energy, which I'm going to come to in the next slide. Natural cooling, which we touched upon previously, and how it compares to the NCM product, or any product that contains cobalt, which requires active cooling or ventilation systems. And usable energy, where I said 99.7%, which I will explain to you in the next slide. The key point that I want to mention here is the natural cooling and the high power output. And like I mentioned before, LFP scores high again. Usable energy and nominal energy. Essentially, nominal energy is the energy that you see on spec sheets, data sheets claiming that, oh, my battery is a 14 kilowatt hour battery, my battery is a 13.1 kilowatt hour battery. But if you dig down and you see the real usable or active power, that's going to be much lower. For example, in the case of Tesla, it could be a 13.5. In some cases, I've actually seen it was, it was 13.2 also. But it just drives home the point that the BYD scores not 100%, I would say 99.7% points there in terms of usable energy. So it's got 15.36 kilowatt hours of storage capacity. Most other batteries cannot do this. So this is a very key feature for installers and end users. So this is the benefits to end users. So the end user could be a residential customer, it could be a business, or it could be a manufacturing facility, it could be a data center, it could be anything. Safest, we touched upon that in terms of lithium iron phosphate, has the highest thermal stability among lithium ion technologies. The HVM has a C rate of 1, giving a continuous output of 2.76, which is higher than most other batteries. It could power a high load and can work off-grid too, which says that the battery is also meant to provide surge loads. Silent, this ties in with the previous slide that I was talking about, where I said it does not need any ventilation systems or active cooling. Systems that use NCM chemistry require forced cooling. Batteries such as Tesla, LG, and even the Samsung batteries, they use they need active cooling, and that's why you hear more of a humming noise next to the battery. Flexible modular capacity can be retrofitted. Works off-grid, on-grid, commercial, three-phase, single-phase. It works everywhere. Obviously, this point ties in with the inverter compatibility also. So it depends on whether the inverter is compatible to be high voltage or low voltage, or if it's a single phase inverter, it can work with a single phase. But as a battery, it works with off-grid, on-grid, and everything else. Touching upon the last point is highest usable energy. Residential customers may not know the difference between nominal energy / usable energy. So they might ask, hey, I've got a 14 kilowatt hours battery, but why am I only using 13.2? There's no confusions there with the BYD, but obviously there is a threshold in every battery below which you can't extract more power, and that's the reserve capacity. BYD give you the option to set that limit. You can even put it at 0%, but obviously that's not as safe. But there's an option for BYD, whereas other manufacturers, we don't have that option. moving on to the next slide. So that's the benefits to the installers on why should I choose a BYD over other products. So 3 key points here. Obviously, that's right on the slide. Ease in installation, modular, no more cabinets required. It also helps installers. The key advantage for installers is you can start upselling these batteries later on. For example, if a residential customer wants to install 5 kilowatts today, and then maybe in 6 months, he wants to install 5 more kilowatts, that allows you to upsell your customers. So that's a very key point you cannot do with other products where they come as a one package solution, and it's very expensive to get a whole solution like that. So that's where BYD score points, and for installers also. The next point that I wanted to show was the, is the support, the local support that is provided for the BYD batteries. Alps Power is the local service agent for the BYD range in Australia. They're based in Sydney, and your technical support, after-sales service, commissioning on site. If there are any questions on how you can commission a BYD battery, warranties / spares, these guys are the guys to go to. Obviously, they've also got pre-sale support, installation phone support, and the warranty for the product, which is a very key point there, is 10 years for residential systems. Where RFI plays here, yes, we're a distributor, but we're not just any other distributor. We've got 40 years of expertise in battery technology. We've been there doing lead-acid battery technology, lithium-ion for telco customers, manufacturing facilities. We do a lot of B2B solution selling. And obviously, we've got our in-house off-grid solutions experts who can help you out with design assistance like we've always have. We help you select the right products for the right applications. So feel free to get in touch with us if you have an inquiry. It can be 10 kilowatt hours. It could be as big as 1 megawatt hour battery storage. It can be anything. So give us a call. Let us know how we can help you out in that. And obviously, with our expertise in industrial battery solutions, we will be the right person to help you in that scenario. I'm going to touch upon some of the use cases or applications of the BYD batteries that we have seen so far. These are predominantly going to be some international case studies and some of them in Australia also. That's a couldn't get a better picture, sorry guys, but that's a microgrid in Africa. It's a 20 kilowatt hours of solar and ground mount frame. It's got a 40 kilowatt hour battery storage. This is an example of how BYD batteries are being used internationally. I can't give you a lot of case studies, but I've seen a lot of battery systems, the BYD 13.8 being installed in PNG, Africa, even in New Zealand also. So the key thing here is that the product is very suitable for off-grid / microgrid solutions in a smaller scale. So you're looking at systems anywhere between 50 kilowatt of storage to even 300 kilowatt hours of storage systems in the off-grid commercial storage. So that's just to put things into perspective. So that's the Australian system design. We've got your Sunny Islands and the BYD 13.8. So this is a 3-phase renewables commercial off-grid system. It's the Timber Trail Lodge. Close to 90 kilowatt hours of storage. So that's, I think, close to 13.6 units, 6 to 7 units of the BYD 13.8 have been used with the Sunny Island. So obviously, it's a 3-phase system. I mean, 3 Sunny Islands. The minimum configurations, which I will be coming to at the end of this presentation. I'll give you a detailed list of what inverters we could use also, if you have any questions on that. This is a very good a business benefit for, especially where customers or installers have a doubt on why should I be installing batteries, or batteries don't make a good return on investment sense. Most people yes, the price of lithium ions is coming down, but right now it's still not, doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's slowly starting to change. And a lot of systems in the microgrid slash VPP, when I say VPP, virtual power plant scenario, are seeing benefits rather than the return on investment. So customers or businesses can one day start dispatching their power for a fee if they're connected to retailers. So that's a key benefit for businesses rather than looking at the ROI per se. Another case study where an agricultural commercial off-grid system has been installed. This is a 50 kilowatt solar system and using the Victron inverters and regulators and close to 100 kilowatt hours of storage. So that's, I think, 8 BYD or 7 to 8 BYD units, 13.8. BYD batteries, like I mentioned before, it's being heavily used in these manufacturing and industrial applications. And that's why the LVL has been, the 13.8s have been changed to incorporate the LVL 15.4s. And we're seeing a lot of movement with these products. A new vertical that we're seeing applications for these products are the data centers. Like everyone knows, the cloud architecture and everything going in the cloud now requires more data centers to be installed. And lithium iron phosphate is the best chemistry that can be used for these installed, and BYD is the perfect solution. Australia has always been at the forefront of early technology adoption. BYD is no different in this case and have grown year on year. In the coming days, I'm coming to a close of the presentation. In the coming days, we will be sending out a BYD system configuration brochure, which essentially outlines all different scenarios. It could be on-grid, what inverters you need to use, whether they can be AC coupled or whether DC coupled, three-phase system, single-phase system, retrofit capacity, everything, all of these in single line diagram, easy to understand way will be sent across to most of the people who attended this webinar. As always, RFI is always happy to help you out in the pre-designed services and off-grid solutions and commercial solutions. This brings us to the end of the BYD Premium Overview and Benefits session. Thank you for attending this short, informative webinar. I hope it was informative. I hope your questions were answered by my colleague Alcara, who has been going around typing. Happy to answer any specific questions you have for me, other than the ones that have already been answered by Alcara. Please feel to get in touch with me at arvind.ravichandran@rfi.com.au if you have any pressing questions that require more time to be spent. All of you have a good day. Thank you for your time. Cheers. Bye. Hey guys, we will be still on the line for any questions. Please feel free to type away. Thanks, guys.